He said OpenAI broke the copyright law, and he also published a research article that how the copyright violation occurred and what is its impact. But what we believe is he was going to whistleblow much more things in the code that would have impacted not just OpenAI, but a lot more organizations that have been misusing the AI power. We believe there's a um, whole big part here of many groups or many organizations or many entities to come together to hatch this tragedy. Or what are you going to do? Are you going to file for a patent? He said no. Then how do you protect it? He just, you know what he said? I'll publish it and let's see what happens. That means he was ready for a war.
Prove to me that you are alive.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Prove to Me that You're Live Lightcast. Um, in order for me to do this introduction, I have to say this piece, and I would like to turn to everyone and remind listeners and remind viewers that this will perhaps be the most important video that you will ever see. These wonderful folks, in order to present these wonderful folks sitting right across me, I have to say that when the best of humanity come to America, they come and they bring the very best and brightest side of themselves. They bring their smarts, they bring their fighting spirits. They come here because they believe that the justice and the system that the forefathers have put forth actually works. And then they offer the greatest gift that they have. They offer their children to the betterment of this country. And today's guests have done just that. Of course, I'm talking about someone that has now become a martyr, I'm not afraid to say, someone that has become a movement and a mission. Of course, I'm talking about the one, the only, the brilliant Suchir Balaji. We say that he's a AI whistleblower, but of course now we see that he is much more than that. His spirit is here, his soul is here, and the people that are sitting across me are perhaps the bravest people that you will ever see. They suffered the greatest tragedy that parents could suffer, and yet they pick themselves up and they keep going for the betterment of this country and the betterment of humanity. We want to see a just system. So, without further ado, the very brilliant, the exceptionally brave Mr. and Mrs. Suchir, I'm going to give you a round of applause. How are you two folks?
We're doing good. Thank you for the kind words and having us over here.
Thank you so much for being here. I cannot even express to you how important it is what you are doing. You have touched my life and you have touched many lives. But in order to tell Suchir's story, I wanted to really get your story, because your story and your family story, of course, is a part of Suchir's story. So maybe in short, you can tell us where you kind folks are from. um, what were your parents like, and what was it like coming to America? What kind of dreams you had? What kind of wishes you had for this country? Thank you.
Thank you. We both come from South India, and my dad was into electronics. He was those days itself when before I was born, it was his hobby. So I picked up electronics when I was in 12, when I was 12, and I wanted to be an engineer. And then when I got into school, I started getting into programming, and most of my colleagues and classmates, they were going abroad to study, and that was what I was trying to do. But again, I had a dream when I was working in Chennai in 1996. I want to work for Oracle Corporation in Redwood Shores. That just like it. And then 1 year later, I got a job opportunity to work in USA as a software engineer. And then within a year, I worked for Oracle Corporation.
Wow.
And I wanted to work in the cutting edge technology, and I'm thankful. I was I did not reach a VP level or anything, but I was an individual contributor who contributed to significant projects myself. If you have come across Orlo home security cameras, I was one of the engineers behind it and I designed the security architecture. I was in Azure development at Microsoft. That's about my technical side. I'll let my husband speak about himself.
Hi,
Thank you.
I'm Balaji here, and Suchit's dad. And my family is a doctor's family, basically. My father is a doctor, even though my mother is in mathematics. She was a school teacher in maths, and but she became housewife later, and she raised four of us, and uh, three of them become doctors, and I was about to become a doctor, but I had a different dream. So I went into social work, basically in India, community development in foster care, and I was counseling. And also, I did a biological background also because they wanted me to become a doctor. So I went into biology, but my interest differed. I want to serve the community, so I become a counselor for community development area. So after coming here to US, my mother was here as a citizen, and all my sister also moved 40 years back. They sponsored us to come here, and when we came, I was in studies because social work was not that much in US. So I changed to IT later. I did my MS here from Golden Gate University, San Francisco. I went to UCF Central Florida also for BS. So after completing computer science, I was working on different uh, Fortune 500 companies as a consultant, from IBM to recently Bank of America as a technical architect, and also Microsoft. Also, I worked as a consultant. I worked full time in Mapfre Insurance in Boston area, 2 years. That time COVID struck, I came back to California and was working. So after that, yeah, the life here in US, yeah, it was initially challenging because culturally different. I mean, we have to adapt to the fast life here, and also the friend circle we had in India was not there. So we have to be mostly independent and do all your our work by ourselves, from cleaning to maintenance. So it we adapted to the culture here. That way we are able to raise Suchir in an American way of, and also some culture of ours also we incorporated in him, like standing for the rights and things like that. Yeah.
This is amazing. That makes sense why Suchir is and was who he was, because he had these two brilliant parents. um wow, you guys, that it's so amazing. What I wanted to ask you is, can you remember the time, maybe I don't want to bring up like, these are good feelings though, can you remember the time when you found out that you're about to have this wonderful child? Like, what was going through your head? What did you think about, like what you wanted the child to be, or like how he's going to be? Can you remember that precious time?
Yes, when I was into 6 months or 7 months, we were at Epcot. I still remember very well. We were looking at all the NASA inventions. We thought we want our son to be an astronaut. Then we thought we wanted him to be a NASA researcher. And we knew he's going to be incredibly bright because of, we both come from diverse backgrounds. And they say, like, when the cross genes, child will be intelligent.
Yeah, that's that. You two, it makes a lot of sense why he was so brilliant. What was he like when he was a kid? I know you touched on it a little bit in other interviews, but what do you remember his characteristics being like when he was a child?
Yeah, I was taking care of him up to 5 years. I mean, I was in studies, so most of the time I was dropping him to daycare and picking up. So the first day itself, he was started singing "Twinkle Twinkle." Like I couldn't understand what he was. "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star." He was singing in the back seat. Okay, he can sing first day itself.
from the
Is
school.
in his school. Is should be more brilliant in a way. Um, and also he was very curious in his environment. He explores everything in the house. He just pull things. He go into the fridge and pull things out. Like he was very curious in the small in the young age, 2 3 years itself. He never sits quiet. And also he never cries.
That is for sure.
Once I was taking him in the stroller, he was not having the belt. He fallen from the stroller. He had a small cut. He didn't cry at all. He was just smiling, and I was surprised. He doesn't
Wow.
have that type of, I mean, crying
Yeah,
feeling. Yeah.
I still remember another thing when he was 4. He had a cut in the eyebrows, and we took him to the doctor, and he was putting the stitches. It's painful. Even through that, Suchi did not cry. We always knew he is very saint, like a very evolved soul from the beginning. He would guide us than we guiding him.
That
Always.
that that's so incredible. These are such, these are such nice memories. Excuse me. And I know that even surviving through these kind of tragedies, we can choose to live in the good memories and remember good things. That's incredible. What do you remember what Suchir was like in school? Like, did he in early childhood start showing interest for computers and things like that?
Yes, yes. Actually, when he was in second grade, his math teacher asked him to coin a math problem using his own creativity. He wrote three electrons plus two neutrons, something like that. And then I was like, where did this child learn from about all this stuff? And we used to take him regularly to Intel Tech Museum. We had annual membership, and wherever we go, exploratorium or any science museum we used to take, he would love those visits. That was his passion. And even at home, like he would mix or do something, and he would keep trying something or the other. At 3 year old, I'm still in shock that he knew his toy wanted this small battery that was found in the watch. He took dad's wristwatch, and then he removed the battery, hid the watch somewhere, and we were thinking, where's the watch? And he used that for his toys. He was 3.
That's incredible. That's amazing. Um, what was I wanted to ask you, what was the spiritual side in your family? Like, were you teaching your son like about higher power and things like that? Like, what was that side of the story?
Well, I used to chant the rims, right? I used to do that before Suchir was born, when he was in my womb. And when he was a baby, also, I used to carry and do that all the time. He did have that spiritual upbringing, and my husband went into Buddhism. He was completely in that path. Like, I used to try influencing him on my side, and dad tried on his side. He said he didn't believe in religion.
Hmm.
He doesn't believe in God when he was 11.
No,
And you
he
know what he
believes
said?
science is the religion, and he believes
Yeah,
facts, not
correct.
things like that. So, but he has some inclination learning the other religions also. Like he was reading Bhagavad Gita and things in the
That is in the later
recently
stage.
latest state. Yeah, but he used to come to temple and watch our culture. He observed. Yeah, he was learning some of them.
He would say, like, he doesn't believe in religion. Humanity is my religion. And when I said everyone follows a religion, he said, I'll start my own, let others follow me. So
Wow.
he was very determined, very determined. He knew what he wanted. And the sweetest memory is 20 months old, knew the directions to McDonald library and Barnes and Noble, where he could play with train. He would give us directions. And I still remember mother-in-law sitting next to him. She was in awe because she had 6 other older grandchildren. This kid was a genius.
In
From
the
the beginning,
yeah.
she knew it.
he used to pick up the books for me, Java and other
Yes.
technical book. When I go to library or bookstore, he goes to the section and say Java, Java. He points out that book to me because I was reading about Java in for my school studies, and is get got involved from the beginning when he
Into
was
technology.
technology, and he into initially he was into games. I mean, video games. Initially, he used to play. That initial start, I can say, is interest. Then he was playing with his games with his friends, internet, and slowly he was getting into contest, like game contest of creating avatars and playing like that. So that engage itself, he had some technical. He used to play long hours, locking his room. We used to call him to go to movies or anything. He said, "No, I want to play with friends. That's all he is entertainment," and he likes that. Slowly, he got into programming.
I can say
Yeah,
about that. When Suchir was about 10, we sent him to summer camp. Until then, we introduced him to every sport, every musical instrument. He even went to a painting class and he was good at it. But when we sent him at the age of 10, when we sent him to summer camp, one of them was tennis, 1 week of tennis. Then there was science camp. He went into science projects and all. The third one was programming. That he clicked on like anything. Within a week, third day, he'd already outsmarted other high schoolers and he was teaching others in the class. I knew he was very bright. And within few days, he started asking me questions about algorithms that even I had no answer for. I kept on encouraging him. Then what I started doing was I started sending him the programming courses from like MIT, Stanford, Berkeley. He started catching them up and he started applying those concepts. When he was 14, he wrote a Google Science paper,
and
and that Google Science paper was about quantum physics. And then he tried to discover a method of reducing the CPU cycles.
Hmm.
And where did the 14-year-old get? And we knew he was a prodigy at that point of time.
and he went for a robotic competition at that middle
Right.
age, and Lego competition. He was the team lead, and he coordinated the team to build the small robot to push the ball towards the goal. So his team won the technically
Award.
award, but in the last minute they gave the award first place to another person because he was presented well. Even technically they are not good, but they were given. Even though there is they won the technically first place, because of some cultural, we felt them some discrimination, we thought, because but even that he didn't feel at all. He said it's okay, dad, mom, so we I'm not bothered about, I feel I own it. You don't need to worry other people opinion. I know I'm good. So he
He
didn't
never
bother about
complained.
not winning that first place. He got a second one. He was happy with that.
And he never complained. I've never heard him say anything negative about his class. Even as a preschooler, even as in elementary school, he didn't say negative about teachers, friends, anything in the system. He was so calm and patient. So when he quit OpenAI, when he was negative about OpenAI, I knew there is something going on there. As a mother, I've never seen him being negative about anything. I knew it was so impactful, so my son was upset about.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that. Thank you for sharing these precious memories. You know what I have noticed, because we live in a community where there are a lot of Indian Americans, like, and I've noticed something about Indian Americans, and I think no every other culture needs to learn this. You guys invest so much in your children. Like, children is like, go to this class and go learn this and this. I've never seen this in any other cultures. Like, it's something to be learned, that you invest so much into your child. And it sounds like that's exactly what you did, him going to summer camp and doing these competitions and everything. That's incredible. So do you remember when he graduated high school, and and was about to go to college, did he already know what he wanted to pursue, and did you have any impact on his decisions?
We could not impact him when he was 15. We learned, and like for example, between SAT and AST or something like that, he didn't listen. When he was 15 or 16, he said, I'm going to excel in USACO, computer programming. When I go to camp, I'll meet CEOs. I can take up a job. I said, no, you're not going to do that. You know what he did? He did qualify for the camp. He met Cora CEO there. And they said, we'll hire bright students like you out of high school. He applied for the job. He interviewed. He negotiated the salary. And then Monday is his start day. Saturday, he came and said, Mom, I'm not going to fucking UCST. They didn't give me computer science. I'm going to work
Wow.
next 2 days. I'm like shock of our life. But he was so firm. That was the path he wanted to take. But eventually I was able to influence him into go to UC Berkeley. He would believe that education does is not needed. I can train myself. Yes, he could. But we were able to influence him really well that look, education brings you, university gets you discipline, you learn a lot. And then he said if he gets into a very high graded college only, he would go. He refused many colleges.
Mm.
After 1 year working in Kura, then he felt, yeah, the degree is required for a better one. So he went to Berkeley. He selected Berkeley and went. Before that, he was toying with the different universities. Like he went to LA and also Washington University. So he tried there, but he didn't like it. But he liked Berkeley and he settled there. Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the first times that, like, during him pursuing this work, instead of maybe getting all these different diplomas, which I'm pretty sure he could have gotten as many as he want to, did you know that he was working on artificial intelligence?
Yes, he was working on machine learning when he was in high school. He downloaded the training data and he was processing it. We didn't know what keeps on running in the computer. When he won the contest for TSA, Transport Security Alliance, then he said, what do you think I was doing? I was practicing on machine learning. And to be surprised, he was just 18. He was in his first year of undergrad. They hadn't even touched the machine learning concept. He aced it and he won the algorithm and he contributed for national security by providing the best screening algorithm for security.
TSA, yeah,
TSA.
transport security in the airport. They use screening. His algorithm is still used there.
We asked him, we followed up what happened. Yeah, yeah, they're rolling on little by little in every state. So
Even
today,
he
that's his
didn't tell
contribution.
he won the contest. We read about that in the paper. Then we came to know. Then we asked you why you didn't tell that. He is
He
very
was
humble
humble.
always. Even
Mm.
when so many contests, he never boast about I won't like anything. He kept quiet unless we ask them. He won't tell.
His friends also tell he's very humble.
Hmm.
He never bragged about anything.
He had such kind eyes, and yesterday when we spoke on video, I thought to myself, like, these people have such kind eyes, and your son had your kind eyes, and I think that your characteristics and your spirit really went into your son well, and you did a really great job. I told you before, us as Americans, us as humanity, we are thankful to you, that you are trying to do something better for the whole world. What I wanted to ask you, can you explain please to people that are maybe not familiar, what is TSA?
Transport Security Authority, like yeah.
Authority. That's the one that runs the passenger screening in the airport. They're responsible for securing the passenger safety and the country's safety in general. In that, Suchi's contribution was for the passenger screening algorithm to go through their through the X-ray or whatever goes through, identify any potential threat. He came up with a new algorithm at the age of 18. This can only come from a prodigy, not from everyone.
Yeah, they gave a limited data. What he did, he created synthetic data that was very unique. The Because of that factor, his algorithm was better.
He
Wow,
received this top secret clearance.
I'm sorry.
He received the top secret clearance. Without that, they could not allow him to work for the competition for the passenger screening algorithm. They selected few from the Kegel contest, and those people were given clearance and they were allowed to work on the real time project. In fact, what they rewarded him was $100,000, but it's worth probably millions. Whatever, my son never questioned. He never questioned. He was happy to contribute to humanity.
Wow. So at this time, if you can paint us a picture, around this time when he was working on TSA, and it's his first kind of, experiences with, as far as working on a field with what he likes. If you can paint us a picture, how old is he at this time, and is he living at home, and are you, I know that Indian American parents always stay in touch with your kid, but if he was not living at home, like, how close were your relationship as far as you staying in touch with your son, and part of his life?
We
He
were
was in Berkeley,
When he wrote that he
Dom.
was in
Yeah.
Berkeley, Dom. But and when he was working, he still stayed with us. He was 17 at that time. Once he joined UC Berkeley, he wanted to be in Dom because we were in South Bay. That's a pretty long distance, and he
Yeah.
wanted to be
Yeah.
independent.
Yeah. We use it once a week in the weekend, take him for lunch, like that. Yeah.
How often would you stay in touch with him on the phone and text messages and stuff like that?
When he was in UC Berkeley, it was only once a week because the program was very hectic. But now, like once he went to work, I could call anytime and talk to him. But till that Saturday morning or Sunday morning ritual of talking on the phone once a week continued.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
until the last minute, I was talking to him. I was the last person to talk to him around 7:30 that day, November 22nd last year. It was after his birthday, so I wished him the birthday wishes and sent him gift like that. I was talking. It was a normal talk. I mean, it is normal dad and son talk. There's no indication of depression, anything in his voice. He was normal, quiet. He usually talks general about technical. We are talking who went with him with his in his trip, and whether he is interested to come to CES. There is a conference, a technical conference. He said yes, he's interested to come next week. That is supposed to happen January. So those are the conversation we had before his pass away. So that type of a constant communication we had with him to
Always
check
very close.
how he is doing. Yeah.
Very close. We always, like, both of us used to take some fruits from Costco, snacks from Costco. Whenever we visit, we drop it off because this guy doesn't care about fruits. He wouldn't buy and eat on his own, but if we drop off, he would eat them. He would skip breakfast, so we used to give him some kind of snacks, always have handy.
Yeah, every year we used to have a vacation time with him. When he was in the Berkeley, we went to um, Hawaii twice. That is 2019,
2018, 2019.
1920, like 2 years we went. And Yellowstone, like every year we take him different places, so that he relaxes in between hectic schedule. Then he started going with his friends to hiking. He likes going
Backpacking.
nature place like Chile, Patagonia, and Japan. Backpacks a lot recently, 23, 24, those years.
Listen, thank you so much. I can't imagine. I want to ask you, how do you feel right now speaking about these things? Like, what does it feel like?
It feels like he's around us and he's always with us. We don't feel we physically we miss him, but we are always connected and we know he's listening to us, and his spirit will be always around because it stood for a cause. And yeah, we passed the grief period of crying for him. Now that we are proud of him, we celebrate him. We definitely miss it, but we celebrate him. And when we see other kids getting married, having kids and all, the thought that strikes is, you know what, he achieved way more than that. Why
Yeah.
should we feel we at 26 he achieved some of the most important things, standing for the ethic or cause. Not everyone will have that kind of children. To give birth we have to face some pain, and that comes with the pride also.
Yeah, recently I attended one RSA conference,
Mhm.
and I was telling about Suchir, and the IBM executive told you should be proud about him. You should not feel dejected, or I mean, what happened. You should be put your head high and walk. He achieved so much. He assured me to be proud of him. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that I told you this yesterday, but I know for sure that he's proud of you too. He's proud that I said this before, that instead of hating the whole world and shutting down, you were able to pick yourself up, take your son's spirit, and keep going, doing something like I said this in the introduction. If you think about it, Suchir has turned into a whole movement, into a whole age of the way we are going to, as a humanity, going to perceive artificial intelligence and even, computer science and things like that. Thank you so much. You are brave. I cannot stop saying how brave you are. What about like girls? Can you remember, was did Suchir have any girlfriends and things like that, or maybe love interest? What about that fun stuff?
Like when he was in high school, he would tell like he's not going to date when until he graduates.
Prove to me that you are alive.
That's one thing, I wish he found someone undergrad in itself because that's a stable love. After he graduated, he was dating a girl for some time, and then he told me he stopped. When I probed, he said, "Mom, I didn't feel the heart connection." He wouldn't just go after girls for physical intimacy or anything like that. He was waiting for the special someone with whom he could feel the heart connection.
Man, he got all the best traits from you two, all the best qualities, all the best traits. You really raised a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful son. It's so good to hear, man. You're gonna be such a great example for everyone. So I wanted to come closer to the events that eventually unfolded. Um, so what was the story with the interview with, if I'm not mistaken, Wall Street Journal? When did that come about, and how much do you know about this whole scenario?
We only came to know after the New York Times interview. Until then, all I knew was he was not happy at work from past 1 year. They had given him manual job. He was not doing research. Each time he told he was not doing research, I knew he'll walk away. He'll never compromise. But he liked OpenAI, so he continued there. End of 2023, as per his journals or the notes, it seems he started to see the copyright issues and he's may have expressed his opinion. We don't have the records, right? From what I believe, I read in the notes, he expressed it and then he was cornered. Eventually, he was made to resign.
Yeah, he was selected by John Stewman when he was in Berkeley. After he graduated, he hired him. So he saw his potential, his boss, John, and he said he gave a good tribute recently when he came for his memorial. He said he was the core. He was in the core team, and he was one of the person who ChatGPT foundation he laid. His seed is growing now, and recently, also one of the colleague who still works in OpenAI, he said, in the end he want to do PhD. So he recommended him because he seeded more project, which one of the project he is working. So when 4 years back he started a lot of project in OpenAI, which because of him it grown to this level. So he's the core person there. But in the end, because he is a whistleblower, they cornered him. They
That's not the
started
only
putting
thing.
him in data scrapping job, which he didn't like. He was in a core team. They slowly pushed him to the
I
which job which juniors can do. So that he was not happy. That's why he went to for PhD research, and he want to show
but
better things
but
he can
he
do.
didn't do go in that direction,
Mhm.
unfortunately. What really happened is he saw something. At this moment we're still trying to discover. And one more thing I have observed is they racially discriminated him.
Mhm.
Recently everyone who's doing the modeling and feeding the LLM data, they were all interviewed along with Sam Altman in the video. Suchir never got that visibility. When I probed his, though his contributions were the highest, more than any of these people.
Right.
And when I checked with his colleague, he said, "Oh, everyone in the research team they highly respected Suchir." And then his contributions were never made visible among people. It was racial discrimination as well.
Mhm.
Indirectly, either the racial discrimination along with retaliation, they let him go. But they did a lot of drama that they offered him a higher price to stay back and all, but they didn't let him continue his
Yeah,
journey.
he started the whistleblower when he was in OpenAI itself. So he started talking to his colleagues. One of them told when he was casually walking, he told about it. So he knows the implication is they're going to corner him. So they started already putting him in this type of job. So he
He
felt,
didn't speak
yeah,
out.
yeah,
He
he
didn't
didn't.
speak out. He just quit.
Then he went to the newspaper. He started connecting when he was in OpenAI itself to the newspaper, New York Times, and they called him. Once he resigned, then he went there and gave the interview. Even he didn't tell his friends also he's going to give interview. Nobody he told, but he went on his own. On his own, yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that both for you on the screen. Uh, can you clarify for all of us at that time what was the company that he was working for, and maybe you can remember the mentors that were around him, if you know such people.
Suchir was working for OpenAI, the company that made ChatGPT. He started working in November 2020 to summer 2021 as a part-time employee. Summer 2021, he started as a researcher.
Yeah, before that he was in Scale AI. It was he was an intern.
He
Scale
filed a patent even as an intern. He was
in
a part
Scale
of the
AI.
patent at
Scale
the.
AI is also a kind of part of OpenAI because they supply the data to them.
Hmm. Okay. So obviously throughout this time you are parents that we say, keep your hand on the pulse, meaning that you were always in touch with your child.
Yes.
Throughout these times, do you remember a change in behavior or a change in the tone of voice, or do you remember anything that can stand out thinking back now?
One time I can say the first thing is he never said anything negative, right? But I wanted to apply for OpenAI for the um, Azure architecture infrastructure job. Then I mentioned that to Suchir. He'd already gone to, that was October 30th. His interview was already published. Then I told Suchir, what if I go join OpenAI now? Will they retaliate? Then he immediately said, yes, mom, they will retaliate. And the behavior change I observed was um, on October 30th, he was afraid. He was very fearful for his life. He didn't even want to come to Santa Barbara with us.
Yeah,
No,
because I'm finding out now, and maybe you can clarify this for all of us, that Suchir maybe tweeted something saying that he's being afraid. Do you know of anything like that?
No,
Oh,
the behavior it shows he bought the gun 1 year back when he was in OpenAI itself. So there is an indication that he was under threat some reason. He bought the gun in the beginning of January last year, and his friends recommended because one of the friend told his neighbors are annoying, so he bought that. So he recommended his Suchir also to buy this. So this is known in friend circle. He bought the gun. It is not that suddenly he bought it, he kept it secret. It is open one, and also he got a dagger. I mean, it is an antique one, 150 years old. He bought it by a heavy price, and he was showing to his friends as a souvenir. I mean, like he got this as a
to
thing
self
to. I
protection.
mean, so it is a kind of he started things for self protection things, and also he bought a motorbike. So this shows he want to show that he can handle things when things get tough. So he was preparing something can happen to him. So we feel those type of things we see changes that he was under threats indirectly it shows.
But coming back to the question, he did
Mhm.
not put in the Twitter because he was not that much of a public person about his emotions. But he put in his journal for sure. He says, "I'm a threat because of credible threat because of New York Times." And he also wrote another sentence: "Jesus was crucified because he was so pure." That means he knew he's going to be tortured and harmed because he had pure intentions.
That's incredible. This is exactly why I said that, I've been thinking about this for a while now, that Suchir has become a martyr in many ways. Um,
Yeah.
you you know your child the best. You feel him the best. One family is one organism. What do you think, to the best of your understanding, what do you think he was feeling at that time, and what was he thinking at that time that made him go out, think about self-protection and all of these different things? Can you pinpoint, you think, what was going through his head?
Actually, he might have seen something happening in OpenAI and he might have protested. The result of that, there might have been a threat to him. That's the reason he was in that mood. I believe that October 29th or so, he was under threat because next morning he said, "Mom, I want to come and meet you." Again, in a week on November 7th, he wanted to come and meet me. By then, I believe he already had a threat. But he kept resisting, and each time I asked, he'd say, "No, no, 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 I'm fine, I'm fine." He wouldn't accept it. But we see that in his journal.
Again, I have to say again how brave you are for even going back to these memories and speaking about this stuff. It must be so difficult. So can you say, maybe you can, maybe you can't, it's up to you, what were the people around him at that time? Like I asked you before, were there any people maybe that he was looking up to, that he was working with, like who was the public that was around him at that time?
No, he was meeting several people, and we are really upset about one of the persons he looked up to, Ed Newton Rex. He runs a company, and he had his own selfish intention in encouraging Suchi go out and speak. If he didn't go to New York Times and speak, then probably his life would not have been lost. Suchi did email him saying that friends and family are dissuading me from going to New York Times. But this guy encouraged. You know why? Because he runs a company that will get business from the copyright allegations. I can't imagine someone going so low to put someone's life at risk like this.
Yeah, sometimes, it's something that I think about all the time, how far money and power can drive someone's intentions. It's for people like us, we can't understand something like that, but there are the dark side of human nature that drives someone to do these horrible things. Do you remember? Can you maybe tell us a little bit about that interview with the New York Times? And I'm sorry for confusing. For some reason, I thought it was the Wall Street Journal. The New York Times. What was the interview about, and what did Suchir say that might have had implicated him?
He said OpenAI broke the copyright law. And he also published a research article that how the copyright violation occurred and what is its impact. But what we believe is he was going to whistleblow much more things in the court that would have impacted not just OpenAI, but a lot more organizations that have been misusing the AI power. We believe there's a um, whole big part here of many groups or many organizations or many entities to come together to hatch this tragedy.
Okay. Can you, from everything that you have gathered, from everything you know now, what was it about the copyright law that you think your son was so against?
He didn't speak out for many more things. He's written in his journal. He just spoke about the copyright. What he believes is when Google uses any of the journalist or artist work, they don't remove the copyright part and they don't make changes. They publish as is. But when it's fed into the LLM model like ChatGPT, what these AI companies do is they remove the copyright part and they feed the data. The output of the data is not the same as the input. That means the content is modified and the whole work is lost. In a sense, it could also misguide the community or the humanity in a different way. This is exactly what he expressed in his research article. If you can still find it in suchi.net, if you go there, you can find this article.
Yeah, and I would encourage everyone to get on the LinkedIn because you two have been making some very nice videos about the work of Suchir, and every time that I see the post from Mr. Balaji, I realize how much important work your son was doing. So leading up to the tragedy, was Suchir maybe consciously or subconsciously preparing you two for something besides these signs that he was exhibiting as far as like self-protection and all of that? Did he in a way try to uh, prepare you for something?
No, it was a big shock for us. Nothing. He had concrete plans. He actually planned a startup in the medical grounds, and he said it takes 1 year for him to complete the proof of concept and get. He had plans of getting VCs involved. He had 5 colleagues who are going to be part of it. He even said like he doesn't even need to work if he wants, like he's financially he was sound. Never gave any clue. In fact, he promised on November 7th to attend my nephew's wedding when it occurs. He's never been. He wrote in his journal also, I'm going to attend my cousin's wedding. So
Yeah, that week he had a lot of appointment. One is to give a talk in his Berkeley
no, but
University.
even for us for preparation, right?
Yeah.
No, it was a big shock for us when we didn't find him respond, and we thought he's traveling somewhere. We That is the shock of our life.
So Mr. Balaji, you were about to talk about, and maybe both of you can. Again, I'm so sorry for bringing you back to this, but I think it's very important, for people to hear the full story. So leading up to the couple weeks and a week to the tragedy, to I will say a murder and a killing of our important figure in our lifetime, what were those couple of weeks like? What was going on in Suchir's life? If you can remember that time, please.
So he told me he's meeting a lot of people online through phone and in person. Those 2 3 months he was extremely busy building up his support circle. He was finding new contact, like one of the AI leads, like Gary Marcus and few other significant figures in AI field. He was in touch with the Artist Guild. He had lined up tons of interviews in other newspapers, and he was going to give like testimony or an affidavit for Siskin's law firm for the Canadian newspaper suing OpenAI. He also wanted to take a legal action himself against OpenAI.
Wow. So it sounds like that. It sounds like that he really got into this fight, and he was
Yes.
fighting the big fight all the way up to the tragic events. So take
Can I
us,
say something?
please, please.
When you say like he was all up to, I still remember end of August when Suchir mentioned he quit his job, and I asked him, "So what are you doing now?" He said he's doing a research. Research means I thought it was something related to patent, and I checked with him when your work is complete, or what are you going to do? Are you going to file for a patent? He said no. Then how do you protect it? He just, you know what he said? I'll publish it and let's see what happens. That means he was ready for a war.
Wow. Wow. Um, do you remember during this time, were you were speaking to him, but were you worried at this time? Like, you as a mother and you as a father, were you sensing that something was going on?
When I saw the New York Times, yes, the moment I saw that, I was literally like, I was completely taken aback, and I knew something wrong was going to happen at that moment. Each time I meet Suchir, I talk to him on the phone, I follow up, and then he would assure there is nothing, there's nothing. But the worst we thought would happen was they might harm his career, but we didn't expect
Yeah.
they'll take his life.
Go ahead, Mr. Balaji. You wanted to say something.
Yeah. When I saw that publication, we initially felt proud of what he did. Even when I told my relatives, they also felt he did a right thing for the society. So they praised him. So we are in uh, way we felt it is a positive way, but there is a unknown fear also in us. What is the implication he will be
Yeah,
facing?
we had
And
no idea.
yeah, in the newspaper, I mean, NBC also told he's very brave to go and talk in the public about this. Even all the newspaper who came after his death, they told he was a brave person. That's why,
How can they
yeah,
take his
this,
life,
yeah.
right? If he's so brave and courageous, why it doesn't add up that they say he took his life, he unalived himself? It can't happen. Someone who's so outspoken, someone who's so courageous, and then medical examiner put he was unemployed, he was worried. If he were worried, he would not have quit a 350,000 job, with the pay, like they also offered him an raise with such a well paid job. Why would he walk away if he were worried about his job? He would be hanging on to it, right? So things don't add up. What people just use as an excuse and who he was isn't add up.
On Saturday, I was talking to my relatives about this newspaper article. We didn't know he died that day, and we were awe of his publication. We are praised. Everybody was praising, inviting him to their house for Christmas, everything. They didn't know he's dead that time.
We didn't know.
So Saturday they are calling and they're asking him to come to their home and things like that. Then, when we were asking the police to I mean, go for check the his state. I mean, how he is like. We didn't know he's. We thought he's missing or he got into an accident. That's why he's not responding. We thought initially, first 2 days, and that was a very confusing for us why he's not answering, because it's very unusual for us, which usually it takes up, at least he misses the call, he picks up and answer. That weekend he was not answering at all. That worried us very much, and we started the process to going to the police and complaining. There is no response from him. They need to investigate. What they did on Monday, they went with the fire truck and asked the apartment people to open the door, but they said um, they can't open that day because the police not there. So the fire truck people went back. They didn't open at all. And the second day only they went with the police. Then they opened it. So there is a 1 day delay in opening the door itself. That also kind of suspicious for us. Why they didn't open when they went
Yes,
first day?
that's also true. You know what? They have gone there, and what we hear in body worn camera is that um, the property management said if the police is there, they will open. Police was there, and the fire department was there, and fire department had all the tools to break the door open. They
They
did
didn't do
not.
that. They went back, say, giving excuse. They went back, and we have to pressurize them to go once again and see what's why it is
We
not
can
open.
actually stop the recording. If you have more questions, we can do another session.
Yeah, yeah, we can definitely do another session. Again, thank you so much, and I'm so sorry that you. Thank you so much for every minute of your time. This is so incredibly important. We can do this again, if you will have some, if you have time.
Yeah.
And I know that this must be painful for you to do. So just to wrap up, what I wanted to ask you is if you can relate to all of us and to everyone that's going to hear. What is your mission that you want to accomplish, and what does everyone have to know about this tragedy that is going to turn into obviously something historical in our time, and what do you think was the future of AI that Suchir wanted to see?
Whistleblowers' life matter. That's a mission. They cannot kill whistleblowers. Number one. Number two is brown lives also matter. We also are important. We are human beings. And then when these wrong things happen, we want accountability of people who have done wrong. For example, the medical examiner who did not do the autopsy, the police who touched barehandedly the gun box without taking their fingerprints and DNA, and cover up, cover up, cover up every stage, including the attorneys, one of the attorneys who worked with us and who joined hands with the other side. We want accountability of everyone, and we want to bring a change where there's some kind of positive mindset in the attorneys and the forensic pathologists have some kind of consciousness in their work and work according to ethics on the money. Hopefully, at least one change we can bring.
Yeah, Suchir has touched all most of the people, even ordinary people. Like I was traveling in Uber. Uh, the lady who drove me to his apartment, she told she know about the case. I was surprised. I mean, I was shocked. They even all people know about it, but they are not taking any action.
Exactly.
Very suspicious. Though they have to clear by reopening and find the truth. That is the thing
Exactly.
we are expecting.
Even my cleaning lady's son knew it. When a cleaning lady came, she said she saw on the Republic TV and she knew what happened to Suchir. But what we are missing here is starting a bigger movement, and we need support from the viewers. We want to launch a bigger movement,
Yes.
Suchir Justice movement, and we need the support.
Yes, yes. Thank you again. Thank you so much. Two last questions. I get you out of here. Do you still believe in America?
I don't know.
Good people are there. They will come together and fight. We will fight it out to get the truth. I mean, things are, we are not able to connect right now, but podcasts like yours can connect those good people to support us and bring the truth and justice.
Like i- how much we are able to influence and bring the change in the system, we really don't know. It's not about America, it's about the capitalist part and the money that changes people's humanity. It's not about the country, it's about, like the power being misused. It can happen anywhere, it's happening everywhere. So it's not about one country.
Those are very wise words, and I want to thank you on behalf of everyone for not giving up on us, the people, for finding the love in your heart to continue. And I will do everything in my power. We will do everything in our power to have justice served, to bring back faith in humanity and in the goodness of people like you. So we have a tradition here on Prove to Me That You're Alive. The very last question, I'll get you out of here. What is the meaning of life to you right now?
It's a very good question. Meaning, so
I think I can answer
yeah,
from what I know. I think life is very, very precious, and we don't know. For me, feel I don't know what's there in the next moment. Things are going to change. As long as I'm alive, I want to do the good thing, right thing, and touch humanity, serve humanity.
yeah. So we are evolving to better person. So the
Yeah.
society should move forward with good people and good behavior. Now we should not go to the animal nature and do killing like this. We should evolve to better people.
Mr. and Mrs. Balaji, I want you to know that you are a gift and you are a blessing to this world. And your son's passing will not go unnoticed. Obviously, you have been doing amazing job. I know that he's with us. I know that he's proud of you. I always tell you this. God bless you. I am a huge fan of yours, and I'm so privileged to call you my friends now. So thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. Balaji.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for hosting us.
Anything else you want to say before we leave?
Please support us in the justice movement. We want justice for us, and no matter how hard it is, if people come to streets, like if we can make this as a movement, we not only get the justice, we bring accountability, and we also bring visibility into the harm caused by AI. That is what Suchi stood for, and we can stop the humanity impact in a negative way by AI. That's about it.
Thank you so much. You two are just wonderful, an amazing couple, and a great example for everyone. Thank you so much. God bless you too. And let's do this
Thank you.
again sometimes.
Sure.
Sure.
Thank you. Bye.
Prove to me that you are alive.